Hello, folks, and welcome to this edition of Understanding Your Health. My name is Todd Scarborough, along with Dr. Tom Butler here today. And in other words, the show is called Two Old Guys with Glasses. But we're pretty smart, and we have some common sense, Tom, and that's
right.
the main thing. And that's what we try to do here, folks, is bring this down to simple, understandable terms. You know, when you're talking about physiology and healthcare and enzymatic processes in the body, you can get really, really elaborate. But, you know, Tom, like we know, the basics to health, even though we've got a very elaborate human body here and the machines and functions, basic health comes down to some very basic fundamentals, doesn't it? It's not an elaborate process, is it?
I'd say probably we're going to talk about migraines, but just talk about general headaches. Probably one of the worst causes of it is not drinking enough water.
Yes.
So how simple is that?
How simple is that? Exactly right.
It's not a aspirin deficiency.
It's true.
So I'm just saying that's when you break it down. And one of the things that you get into with migraines especially is you want to hurry up and treat it. So it's already like shoot the gun and you haven't even seen what pulled back the trigger
to see where it's coming from.
Yeah. Could be a trigger of hormone, or like we said, maybe not enough water, or maybe you ate a big, Chinese meal with a bunch of MSG that triggered it, or maybe
artificial colors.
Here's a new one. Lightning storms from 25 miles away can affect up to 20% of the people with migraines, and it causes a migraine.
Wow.
There's exercise-induced migraine, as our strenuous man
been there and done that.
20% of them are triggered by that. So, you know, we've talked about that in the past too, about some people aren't designed to have the real rigorous, super intense exercise, whereas
Lance Armstrong.
Todd, we said we weren't going to touch on a few subjects on this show, but anyway, sexual activity actually relieves like up to 50 or 60% of some people's migrainous symptoms. Well, we've talked about that. The lack of blood flow is the cause of a lot of problems. So, and then
True.
You said.
Well, and again, there's one to use with your wife to say, hey, I've got a headache. How would you do that?
Say, let's try to get rid of it.
Exactly. And then if she's got a headache, she's going to sleep. So it is certainly something. We are talking about headaches here today. And it is something, Tom, when you talk about migraines and you talk about headaches as a whole and pressure in the head, you see people with migraines to such an extent where it shuts them down where they're in bed. But you bring up a very good point here, is that it could be stemming from so many different areas. What is it? Find that first. And of course, that's kind of like health as a whole, folks. You want to make sure you know what you're dealing with. You're not just dealing with signs and symptoms. You need to go back to the cause of that problem. And in migraines, most of the time, I tell most people start with water. That's the first place, isn't it?
I've had one patient, and this is terrible to start like this, but it works so good. You say, what's your favorite thing to do? And if it's like smoking, that's probably what's wrong with them. If it's, drinking beer, I've had that. That's their favorite thing to do. And so it's so terrible, but it only takes 2 weeks, folks. So you're not off it the rest of your life. But give it up for 2 weeks. And if you can tell an appreciable change, don't argue with success. Are you with me? When it works, don't quit doing it.
No, that's exactly right. And ultimately, again, it does go back to that. We find that with food allergies and certain problems with being overweight, it does boil back down to that one thing that you really love, that you crave, that your body desires.
Trigger.
And yes, and sometimes it's a very bad habit because it's feeding allergies, it's feeding migraines and other things. So it's ultimately the elimination diet is what Tom was talking about, is kind of eliminate these things from your diet to see. And again, if it works, it works. And I know whenever we look at overall health, it does go back, I think 90% of the time, Tom, to what you're putting in your body and what you're not getting. Correct?
And whether you're getting energy from it.
Yes.
So, you know, and some of it's so fake of energy, like a diet soda that has caffeine, but it has that phenylketonuria.
Yes, the amino acid, exactly.
That causes, I've noticed a lot of people that when they get that out of there, that helps with the migraine.
With the migraines, interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
And MSG, I've noticed that as well.
We see that a lot, and there's certain amino acids that do it. In fact, we know that there's sweeteners out there that causes migraine headaches. So we're going to come back and talk very extensively about this, folks. If you got migraines, if somebody's a pain in your neck, We're talking about the pain in the head, but it could be resulting from the pain in the neck as
can.
well. It
We'll
could be
review
muscle
that
tension.
too.
Exactly
Yes.
right. So we'll come back and talk about the pain in your head when we come back from this break. Hang on.